You have probably flown SpiceJet at some point in your life, maybe Delhi to Mumbai for 2000 rupees, maybe a quick hop to your hometown, and it was always there, cheap, available, and usually fine. Right now, SpiceJet has 11 aircrafts in service. This is not a typo. India's third largest airline, an airline that once flew 500 flights a day, currently has only 11 planes in the air. And the question that every person who books a SpiceJet ticket needs an answer to is simple. Is the airline actually going to survive? Quick context for anyone who needs it. SpiceJet started in 2005. It grew to become India's second largest airline at its peak with 17% market share, over 90 aircrafts and 500 daily flights. It was the airline that brought truly cheap flying to ordinary Indians. It has been in and out of crisis mode for over a decade now, and right now it is in the deepest trouble it has ever been in. Here is the full story of how it got here and whether it can actually come back. Part 1. How did 11 happen? SpiceJet's fleet collapsed to 11 in-service aircrafts after the departure of its remaining wet-leased Boeing 737-800s. Two aircrafts were ferried back to Europe on June 26 after the wet-lease agreement with Corendon Airlines came to an end. What that means in simple terms is that SpiceJet was renting aircrafts from a foreign airline to keep flying. That rental agreement ended, and the planes went home. And SpiceJet was left with what it actually owns and can operate, which is just 11 aircrafts. Those 11 aircrafts consist of 2 Q400s, 9 Boeing 737s, and 1 737-900ER. Now compare that to where it came from. At its peak, SpiceJet had over 90 aircrafts. In 2025, it promised investors a fleet of 100 planes by 2026, and it raised 3,000 crore rupees from institutions including Tata Mutual Fund and Goldman Sachs to rebuild. That money came in, but the planes didn't, and today, just 11 aircrafts. Part 2. The 3 times SpiceJet almost died. Here is what makes SpiceJet fascinating. This is not the first time it has been here. The first near death was 2014. ATF prices had spiked, losses piled up, and the airline couldn't pay salaries. Ajay Singh, the airline's founder, had sold SpiceJet in 2010. He watched it collapse and then bought it back in January 2015 for a symbolic rupees 2. He then went to every lender, every lessor and said, if I go bankrupt, you get nothing. Give me time, and they did. What followed was 17 consecutive quarters of profitable growth. SpiceJet came back stronger than ever before. The second near death was the Boeing 737 MAX crisis in 2019. After the 2 MAX crashes globally, India grounded every MAX aircraft. SpiceJet's entire growth plan was built on a MAX. Overnight, it lost a large chunk of its fleet, and then COVID hit. The airline went from a 17% market share to fighting for survival again. The third near death, which is right now, began with the MAX grounding debt it never fully recovered from. Compounded by lessors taking legal action, the Dubai airport banning SpiceJet passengers over unpaid dues, pilots going to court for unpaid salaries, and multiple insolvency petitions filed against the airline in the NCLT. Courts describe SpiceJet's conduct during lesser disputes as shocking, with allegations that aircraft were returned missing parts that had been cannibalized for other planes. 3 near deaths, 3 times Ajay Singh found a way through. The question is whether there is a fourth survival in him. Part 3. What is SpiceJet actually doing right now? It is not sitting still. In June, SpiceJet announced it was inducing 3 Airbus A320 aircrafts on damp lease in July, which means an aircraft plus crew maintained by someone else operated under SpiceJet's colors. This is how airlines in crisis add capacity without the upfront cost of ownership. It is targeting 220 crore available seat kilometers by winter 2026 and is aiming for a fleet of around 60 aircrafts through a mix of wet leases, damp leases, and bringing back grounded planes it already owns. In Q3 of last year, SpiceJet doubled its capacity and grew market share from 1.9% in September to a higher figure by December, suggesting the airline can move quickly when it has aircrafts. The Airbus A320 move is also significant for a different reason. SpiceJet has always been an all-Boeing airline. Taking Airbus 320s even temporarily means it is doing whatever it takes to get planes in the air. But here is the honest problem. In February, SpiceJet signed an MOU for 10 additional aircrafts. By June, 4 months later, that had not materialized. The airline makes announcements, the follow-through has been inconsistent. Investors, lessors and passengers have all heard SpiceJet's recovery promises before. Part 4. What this means for the market. SpiceJet flying 11 aircrafts is not just a company story, it is a market story. Every route SpiceJet used to operate and no longer does, there's one fewer option for passengers. One fewer competitor keeping Indigo and Air India honest on that route. And as we have seen across Indian aviation, when competition disappears on a route, fares go up. SpiceJet was particularly important on price-sensitive routes, Tier 2 cities, Hajj and Umrah travel, and smaller airports that airlines don't find profitable enough to serve at low fares. If SpiceJet shrinks further or disappears, those passengers don't stop needing to fly, they just end up paying more to whoever is left. And unlike Kingfisher, which collapsed suddenly in 2012, leaving passengers stranded with worthless tickets, SpiceJet is more like a slow bleed than a sudden crash. Load factors remain high where it operates, passengers still want to fly it, the product is fine, but the problem is entirely financial, not operational. That distinction matters. An airline that passengers want to use but can't afford to stay in the air is a different kind of tragedy from one nobody wanted to fly anyway. Now, what it means for you. If you are a regular SpiceJet flyer, here is the honest advice. For short trips booked close to the date, SpiceJet is still flying and the fares are genuinely competitive right now. 11 aircrafts is small, but it is still an operational airline. For anything planned more than a few weeks out, book carefully. If SpiceJet cancels a flight, the refund process is slow, and in a crisis, airlines prioritize cash over customer service. Buy travel insurance if you're booking SpiceJet for something important. And watch July. The 3 A320s are supposed to join the fleet this month. If they do, it signals that the rebuild plan is real, and if they don't arrive on time or if more lessors reprocess aircraft before then, the 11 could go lower. That is the number we need to watch. SpiceJet has survived 3 near deaths already. Ajay Singh has come back from situations that would have finished most airlines, but this time feels different. The market has moved on. Indigo has 65% of it. Akasa is growing extremely fast, and Air India is in a transformation. There is less and less room for a fourth player that cannot keep up its plane in the air. Here is my question for you. Do you think SpiceJet will survive this time, or is this the beginning of the end of India's third airline? Tell me in the comments. New video every Thursday at 7 pm. Like, share and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.